What's up everybody, Frank Valkyria, welcome to the channel. How you guys doing? Let me know in the comments below. Today we have quite an interesting thread to follow, literally, here on Twitter. This is the Twitter files number 2. And there is more to the story than just Hunter Biden, a laptop, honestly. And this is a story of censorship. Let's start right here with the thread shared by Barry Weiss, or Barry Weiss. Barry is also an Italian city, very close to where I live, kind of. Anyway, a new Twitter files investigation reveals that teams of Twitter employees build blacklist, prevent his favorite tweet from trending, and actively limiting the visibility of entire accounts or even trending topics, all in secret without informing users. Bombshell. Bombshell. Wow. Twitter once had a mission to give everyone the power to create and share ideas and information instantly without barriers along the way. All right, we got that. And supposedly those barriers were built instead of taken away. So take, for example, Stanford DRJ Bhattacharya, who argued that COVID lockdowns will harm children. Twitter secretly placed him on a trans blacklist, which prevented his tweet from trending. Wow, man, I don't know what to say. Am I surprised? Honestly not. And I don't think you're surprised either. Or consider the popular right-wing talk show host Dan Bongino, who at one point was slapped with a search blacklist. Basically, he didn't even turn up. Now again, I know absolutely nothing about the Dan Bongino show. I hope he's nowhere near the madness of Kanye West and his affiliate these days. But the problem is not so much, that I don't know those people. The real issue is that somebody chose to create a group and a sort of a task force to condemn and remove those deemed not necessary for the conversation, right? And that's the big issue, because that means that somebody stood up in a totalitarian fashion inside Twitter and chose what was morally acceptable or not. And that's a slippery slope, man. I'm not going to say that it isn't totally feasible to be able to go like, okay, should we just let, I don't know, Kanye West go rampant with his anti-Semitism on Twitter, and then you have to make a call. I can understand that when things start to get ugly to that level. But still, it's a slippery slope, man. It's a very slippery slope. Especially when you start to target not only that, the extremes, but then you start to target conversations which they're in the realm of annoyance, or like really just challenging the status quo in a milder way, or starting a conversation and you go like, no, that this is not what we're supposed to do here. Boom, blacklisted. And I have to admit, I have the sense that YouTube probably does the same. Many YouTubers covering the Amber Heard trial have experienced and deep in many videos, also older videos all of a sudden don't show up very much anymore, including myself, and I'm sure there is the experience of other people too. Just for the sake of sharing information, just for the sake of talking of subjects that perhaps are inconvenient to the status quo or whatever the political agenda is at the moment. In the case of Johnny Depp, that is actually a male survivor of abuse, and for whatever reason it seems that it's discouraged. Whenever you put a word like I just said in the conversation, you get a yellow icon, and then the video most likely doesn't get suggested. So I'm not surprised. So Twitter denied that such a thing existed. In 2018, Twitter Vijaya Gadde, which I think was the head of Twitter at the time, head of legal policy and trust, and Kayvon Bakepur, head of product, said, we do not shadow ban, they had it, and we certainly don't shadow ban based on political viewpoints or ideology. Well, it seems it turned out to be absolutely false. What mainly people call shadow banning, Twitter executive and employees call visibility filtering. Wow, visibility filtering. Remember that word. So they used on whoever they deemed necessary this visibility filter. And there was an entire group. I just also Twitter and Elon Musk replying to the Twitter that basically, Twitter was lying to us all along. And they try to put into this mix also Jack Dorsey, the former CEO or head of Twitter, basically. And Elon Musk replied that a lot of those decisions were taken behind the approval of Jack Dorsey. So he wasn't aware of all of those things, apparently. And Elon Musk continued stating that Jack Dorsey has the heart in the right place. I'm paraphrasing him. He's a good-hearted person. At least that's what he's shared. The group decided whether to limit the reach of certain user was the Strategic Response Team, Global Escalation Team, or SRT GET. It often handled up to 200 cases a day. But there existed a level beyond official ticketing, beyond the rank and file moderators following the company policy on paper. That is the Site Integrity Policy, Policy Escalation Support, known as SIPPES, SIPPES. This secret group included Head of Legal Policy and Trust, Viaja Gadde, the Global Head of Trust and Safety, Yoel Roth, subsequent CEOs Jack Dorsey and Parag Agrawal, and others. Sorry. This is where the biggest, most politically sensitive decision got made. Think I follower account, controversial, another Twitter employee told us. For these, there would be no ticket or anything. Wow. One of the accounts that rose to this level of scrutiny was Libs of TikTok, an account that was on the Trends blacklist and was designated as do not take action on user without consulting with SIPPES. Wow, this was really high up there in terms of filtering. The account which Chaya Rachik began in November 2020 and now boasts over 1.4 million followers was subjected to 6 suspensions in 2022 alone. Rachik says each time Rachik was blocked from posting for as long as a week. Twitter repeatedly informed Rachik that she had been suspended for violating Twitter policy against hateful conduct. But an internal SIPPES memo from October 2022, after her 17th suspension, the committee acknowledged that LTT has not directly engaged in behavior violative of the hateful conduct policy. See here. So here they explain that what we just read. Man, I'm blown away. I mean, I really hope YouTube is not doing this or worse, even though I have the feeling that probably that's in place. It's such a messed up place, man. It's such a messed up. And, again, I've always considered myself a liberal in the sense of like, you do whatever the freak you want as long as we try to communicate, as long as we try to have a dialogue instead of just absolute positions on things and trying to work it out. Always consider myself more center left, but this doesn't allow for conversation, man. And I've said this before, I have the sense that this type of behavior actually radicalized people which they don't have a voice anymore. And if they were like center right, leaning conservative, you might radicalize those people even more. I might be wrong, but I really believe and think that conversation, it's necessary to actually get a milder positions on things, everything. Might be wrong, but yeah, then again, I'm just learning as I go. So the internal Slack message Twitter employees spoke of using technicalities to restrict the visibility of tweet and subject. Here's Yoel Roth, Twitter's then global head of trust and safety, in a direct message to a colleague in early 2021. A lot of times, CI has used technicality spam enforcement as a way to solve a problem created by safety under enforcing their policies, which again isn't a problem per se, but it keeps us from addressing the root cause of the issue, which is that our safety policies need some attention. All right, at least he was aware of that. 6 days later, in direct message with an employee on the health, misinformation, privacy, and identity research team, Roth requested more research to support expanding non-removal policy intervention like disabling engagement and de-amplification visibility filtering. Wow. Roth wrote, the hypothesis underlying much of what we have implemented is that if exposure to AG misinformation directly causes harm, we should use remediations that reduce exposure, and limiting the spread, virality of content is a good way to do that. He added, we got Jack on board with implementing this for civic integrity in the near term, but we are going to need to make a more robust case to get this into our repertoire of policy remediations, especially for others' policy domains. Wow, they were really political, man. They were really biased. And again, you know, like I said, I've always been personally center-left, where I'm from. But when I see this is totalitarian behavior, you know? And it really does more harm in the long run. You know, if you expose people for what they are, they get to the point where actually they will really breach the extreme of the policies, you know, like Kanye West did by sharing, like, you know, swastika on here. And then it becomes so freaking obvious that you have no other alternative but just to take action. But this is like, oh, in case this thought might cause people to, you know, go in that direction that possibly could be harmful, then we have intervened before. So they're basically projecting that could be a problem starting from a conversation or something, and they're basically justifying themselves why they should extinguish the conversation, whatever that is, in the first place before it get there. Wow. So there you have it. We're just getting started on our reporting. Documents cannot tell the whole story here. A big thank you to everyone who has spoken to us as far. So we probably get to see more of this incredible revelation. Sometimes I wish that YouTube came a little bit more clean instead of doing harm to its platform and its users, especially those that they try to spread truth. Transparency is always helpful to create conversations and to confront one another and to remedy the absence of dialogue. Really, you need to have dialogues in between factions. I think that's really the only solution to try to de-radicalize both the extreme left and the extreme right, whatever it's possible, you know, and start to have a little bit more civilized society instead of dystopian, whether like leaning left or dystopian leaning right. That's, you know, at the end, in those things, then you don't see anymore the difference. It becomes the same thing. So anyway, guys, please consider subscribing. Always spread love. Ciao.